Hey there, and welcome back to another Miraculous Ladybug retrospective review, where I go through some of the older episodes of Miraculous I never really got to give my opinions on and give my thoughts. And my god, it took me like 2 years to get through Season 1, but here we are, starting again. I'm to start fresh with Season 2, which at this rate will manage to finish sometime in 2026. Strap yourselves in, kids. And so we'll be starting with The Collector, which is the first episode of Season 2, and follows off from the big moment at the end of Volpina, where Marinette gets her hands on the Guardian book, and heads over to see Master Fu. Oh, man, this is nostalgic, I tell you what. But yeah, this was one of the first big cliffhanger endings that built up the overall story of the show. Season 2 is where we really start to see a lot of these early big moments, so I'm pretty excited to go through it now, but yes, Collector. The episode begins with Marinette being taken to Master Fu's massage parlor, I guess? Is that what his job is? That's how he earns money, I think. But Tiki comes out of nowhere and introduces them to one another, with Marinette remembering that she'd actually been there before when Tiki was sick, which in turn makes her realize, oh, this isn't a vet, which to me was pretty obvious, if I'm being honest with you. Nothing about this place screams vet to me, but sure, maybe she's never had a pet. And then Fu's casually like, oh yes, not only have we met before, but I've stalked you too. Like that time I purposefully tested you in front of moving traffic, and then I snuck into your bedroom to give you magical jewels. And when you put it that way, feels like we're dealing with Master Roshi, not Master Fu. Fu then blasts us with some exposition about how he's the last of the Order of the Guardians and that they went extinct because of him, and how he lost two of the most powerful Miraculouses from the box, with one at least being confirmed to be owned by a villain. And on top of that, he can't properly read the spell book, like fluently or anything. He was just a rookie, but he can translate it slowly over time. Oh my god, if I was her, I'm backing slowly to the door. Because this is not instilling me with a sense that he knows what he's doing whatsoever. One chance meeting where she saves him from getting nailed by a car was somehow enough for this guy to give her a Miraculous. That was it. And Adrian simply helped him stand up. I'm no great hero, but if I saw an old man fallen down on the ground, I'd help him, you know? It isn't that much of a good deed to say, oh, have this superpowered gem that could make you a great hero or a great villain. But I totally know your personality just from this brief interaction, so you'll be fine. And I mean, he is honestly useless, right? Over the course of the show, he never does shit to teach her or help her. I mean, Marinette's just built different. She chads it out to become a top-level guardian. But Fu ain't all that. Also, imagine revealing that you had destroyed the rest of your order through sheer incompetence in your first meeting with your brand new ally. Fu! Also, like I said, he can only partially decipher the code in the book. My god. God, Fu. We then briefly head over to Adrian's place where he's being interrogated by his dad for stealing the book and losing it, complete with visual evidence. Of course, with no plag, because photos don't work with Kwamis. I can't really remember the reason why. And of course, Adrian is in significant trouble, to the point that his dad tells him he's going to pull him out of school and homeschool him again. And I'll be real, like pulling him out of school, it's too harsh. But let's be honest, he does actually deserve to be punished, right? He legit broke into his dad's safe, stole from him, and then lost a priceless artifact. It's such a bonehead move. Like, Adrian, what were you actually thinking with this one? We then briefly cut back to Marinette and Fu, where he tells her that it's pretty likely that whoever had the book is Hawkmoth, so of course Marinette panics, as she obviously pinched it from Adrian, and thus she lies to protect him to investigate further. Although, Fu is giving her some pretty big-time side-eye here, so I think there's a decent chance he's aware and knows that she's lying, but he'll give her time to sort things out. And of course, Marinette spirals, because this is Marinette we're talking about, because she thinks that there's a chance that she's in love with a supervillain and would have to battle him. But Tiki talks her down and says there's probably an explanation. Luckily, Marinette knows Adrian's schedule off by heart, which, well, that isn't weird or creepy or anything. And off they go to investigate, only to discover from a distraught Chloe that Adrian's been grounded for life by his dad for losing the Miraculous spellbook. Also, we have one of the legit funniest moments of Miraculous that I've seen in ages in this scene. When Marinette finds out that Adrian's been grounded and it was his dad's spellbook, she accidentally says, phew, and everybody stares at her as she fumbles to try to correct herself, but she's also backing towards the door, and then she just straight up runs away. Imagine knowing somebody like this in real life. Yeah, off Marinette goes and celebrates in the toilets, before Tiki reminds her that this means there's a good chance that Gabe is Hawkmoth, and thus they need to investigate it. And so off Ladybug goes whilst Gabe enacts a plan of his own, to akumatize himself. Now, no idea why he does this, it's probably explained later on in the episode, but I'm not up to that point yet. But I'd assume it's to throw anybody off the scent, just in case they got their hands on the spellbook and knew where they got it. It's honestly a pretty genius strategy. And hell, even if it was only just to have a crack at getting the Miraculouses himself with more control over what goes on, it's still a very clever strategy. But yeah, this whole sequence where he just goes nuts and starts smashing shit and then goes full mastermind, renouncing Nuru and turns into the Collector, At the time, I remember thinking this was a really cool twist, and it honestly still is. It's one of the few times that Gabe, or at least early days Gabe, has a good, non-smooth-brained plan. Also, side note, but Plagg somehow has cheese that he's been fermenting for 999 days. So close to 3 years. So what's up with that? He hasn't been with Adrian for that long. Do you reckon Fu lets them out from time to time, like Marinette does when she becomes the Guardian? Does he stash this cheese somewhere in the city and go back for it once he becomes Adrian's partner? That's truly disgusting. Also, poor Adrian having all this disgusting cheese in his bedroom and on his person, like in his shirt pocket. He must need to use a lot of cologne to get that smell out. Good thing his dad has his own fragrance line, huh? But yeah, Adrian decides that he may as well go out as Cat Noir to try and figure out where the book is, as it's his only real chance of being able to go back to school and live his life, as opposed to homeschool and no friends. So, good choice, honestly, good choice. And as he goes off to meet Ladybug, Gabe bursts out of his lair as the Collector. And I love that instantly, he betrays Natalie. That's what you get. I mean, she even sets up the book for him and everything, and he's like, nope, you're the first to go. Screw Natalie. She's still in full Gabe simp mode here, and abetting the abuse and neglect of Adrian, so she can stay in the book, honestly. Gabe then goes on a rampage across Paris, really quickly too. Like, dude zips around to the art gallery, city hall, TV station, the Eiffel Tower, and all before Cat Noir, who left the house before Collector, is able to meet up with Ladybug. Might be a bit of a wonky timeline there, but we'll overlook it for now. And so yeah, they meet up and she tells him, I have no evidence, but trust me bro, trust me. Gabe is Hawkmoth. I mean, he's rich, he stays at home, and he uses butterflies in his designs. It all makes sense. And somehow this evidence is enough to sway Cat Noir and send him spiraling into an internal crisis, although nobody's ever accused an Agreste of good judgment and intelligence. Like, I know she is right about this, but it's just the most flimsy, circumstantial bullshit evidence I've ever seen. Like, she couldn't explain the book, so she just has to scramble for anything. Anyway, they go to Gabe's place and they find it trashed, only to be ambushed by the Collector himself. So he's gone on his rampage, he's come home, and has set up a trap for them, all in the time it took them to meet and chat, and they just noticed none of it happening. Okay. And yeah, they get ambushed. We get one of the coolest action sequences of the early days of the show. Seriously, in season 1, there were some cool sequences sometimes, but then there was just a lot of very, very basic action set pieces too. This one was fun and creative, and ends up with Cat Noir losing his staff, and that's another thing I like with this whole ending fight. A lot of Miraculous battles don't feel like they have a lot of stakes, because, there's a rather simplistic action, and so they go straight to the finish line where the heroes and villains finally come together, and the heroes just destroy them, often using bullshit. Like, this whole extended battle goes for like 6 minutes in a 23-minute episode, so that's much longer than usual. It's fun, it's high intensity, the heroes do actually struggle. In the midst of their battle, Ladybug even loses her yo-yo. So she only has her lucky charm, a bike pedal. Until, of course, the ending. And the ending, let's be real, is absolute ridiculous bullshit. She shoots CDs at the Collector using a foosball table combined with Cat Noir's tail belt thing and the bike pedals to make them shoot super fast. Yeah, this is just so dumb. Oh my god. And instead of just jumping out of the way like a normal person would do when CDs are coming at them, or just letting the CDs hit his invulnerable body, the Collector tries to be a Jedi and uses his book to just collect them, which fills up all his pages and leaves him open to being defeated. Oh, smooth brain. And so yeah, they break the book, reverse everything to get the yo-yo back, de-akumatize, you know the drill. Hawkmoth puts on a pretty good acting performance to act as a confused victim and concerned father, and off the heroes go, with Marinette going to Fu to explain everything, and to request the book back so that Adrian can come back to school. And Fu, well, it's the modern era. Dude just takes some snaps on his phone. Based. I always thought this was actually rather funny. Like, true, why wouldn't you make a copy of this priceless book? I mean, Gabe does it as well. But it was very funny nonetheless. Also, Marinette has just met this man. And here she is, sobbing on his floor about, Adrian! Get a grip, kid. Get a grip. This poor old dude doesn't deserve to have to deal with this. And so Marinette returns the book to Gabe, who forgives Adrian for pinching it, telling him that it was the last thing that Emily had ever given him before she disappeared. Pfft, mate, you're not fooling anyone with that. She's dead, son. But yeah, Gabe reveals at the end that this was all just to get the heat off of him, which was very clever. Well done. Gabe with the wrinkled brain today. You love to see it. Although it's crazy to me that he instantly expects that the heroes would have got their hands on the book and been able to trace it back to him when Adrian just claims he loses it. So therefore, wouldn't you assume, well, where would he have lost it? He lost it at school, perhaps? So therefore, Ladybug and Cat Noir have to go to his school. So maybe he's not very wrinkled brain after all, because it should be rather rudimentary to start to piece things together from that point, if you're as rich as him. but okay. And so, yeah, that's the end of the episode. And so, yeah, not much else to say other than these have been my opinions, and now I'd like to hear yours. What did you think of the episode? Did you like it? You hate it? I'm curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know.